Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought we would have a look again at the research trees. Basically, we're going to be having a look at the new ranks for a lot of vehicles because this actually affects quite a lot of stuff when it comes to how you're going to play the game. And then also at the same time, I thought we would garner some interesting information from basically the tech trees themselves and the pretty much confirmed addition of rank 8 when it comes to ground. The only question is, will it come this update or will it come in the future updates? Because the way that they've changed a lot of the tech trees, especially with the premiums, makes it look like rank 8 is going to be coming pretty soon. And since aviation is already at the rank 8 area, you can see here that it's at the rank 8 place, and then obviously with these guys it's at the rank 8, and I don't think they actually moved up any of the aviation vehicles to rank 8. They only moved up one of the event vehicles, the Tornado IDS, even though stuff such as the F4S is technically rank 8 worthy. The interesting thing is, because of that, it kind of has set up the tech tree in a way that makes the most sense. You can see here the F4EJ being rank 7. So what they've done with ground is they have basically set the building blocks for rank 8 to come. So by moving up stuff like these guys, and then once the explosion of rank 8 comes in, then they'll move up some of the tech tree vehicles, but they won't move up the premiums, which, is something that they've done for a long time, and basically how all of this stuff goes. So even though right now you have at the highest rank of the game some premiums for ground, I don't think that's going to last for very long, and instead these guys are going to be left at rank 7, and then rank 8 is going to come in with, new MBTs. Maybe you got the Leopard 2A7 turning up, maybe you've got obviously the T90M, which has just been sat around, or just the T90S, I can't remember, whichever one, is the is the most modernized one. And then, of course, you have all of the challenges, which will be, kind of brought in at the same time. Like these guys will probably go to rank 8 as well. The only question is there enough vehicles there? And since in aviation we have tech trees which have, literally like 1 or 2 vehicles at each of the ranks, you can see here, then yes, the answer is yes, that will be the case. There was also a post from the Flying Red Fox, which was pretty cool, on Reddit. I'll leave a link in the description to it, basically pointing out different vehicles which were in the tech trees, which weren't supposed to be there. Now, I actually archived this damn thing to talk about these today, but the archive didn't work. So basically, we're going to have to use this. But you can see that there is some float planes which were in the lower echelons. You could see some of them in the video that I made today. So the Fairy 3F Mark 3B, the O3U1, and then also you've got the Panzer 35 TRM, the Romanian one, which has been sat there for the longest time, and then also the GL832HY. So these planes here are obviously, biplanes, they're hydroplanes, and they are launched off of cruisers or battleships and all of these different things. They're all in the game, technically already, and they've been there for a long time, but they're used as, aircraft for naval. The only question is, when do these vehicles make the jump into aviation? We already have had some vehicles jump into aviation which are similar to them. Stuff like the RO44, for example, was added more recently. And then also, even for Japan, for the longest time, you had the F1M2, right, which has a similar role to them. And also even the Kingfishers, which are in the tech tree already. So the main thing is, these vehicles were put in these tech trees to start with, and obviously somebody didn't check it properly, and then they were removed. So they weren't supposed to be there. So that shows that they are planning to add them in. They just don't know when they're going to add them in, whether it's going to be the next update or whether it's going to be obviously in the future. And the Panzer 35, like, I don't know, it's been around for so many years and it's just never came to the game, and it's just a rank 1 ground vehicle. I don't understand why it's taken so long to stick it in the game. The only thing I can think of is if they're planning on, of course, a Romanian subtree, if they put in the Romanian vehicle for Germany instead of Italy, it might be a little bit silly, right? So maybe the plans are up in the air when it comes to this stuff. But the main takeaways are there are vehicles which were in these tech trees yesterday which are no longer there because they're going to be adding them in the future, but they didn't want to show them. And another one was actually an A6M5 for China, which would be kind of interesting as a premium if they ever decide to add it. So yeah, there's a ton of stuff that they're doing when it comes to new vehicles, and also it looks like they're prepping for rank 8 ground. So let's have a look at all of the different rank changes that we have in the new setup as well. It's something that I didn't touch on too much yesterday because of the fact that I just didn't know them. And luckily, Sir Revolver, who is a treasured member of the community, put together this list so we can have a look at all the different changes and the effects that it will have when it comes to the game. So we'll have a look at the aviation ones, and then we'll also have a look at the ground ones afterwards. The ground ones are a little bit more startling, but even with the aviation ones, there are some weird, odd ones which are around the place. So, for example, the PV2D going up to rank 3. The main thing we're going to focus on here is the rank 3 barrier. So in War Thunder, if you have a rank 3 vehicle, it can do everything in the game. It can do all the dailies, it can do all the specials, challenges, anything like that, right? So rank 3 is kind of like the foundation point you want to get to if you are a new player, or if you are a pre-existing player, you want to get to that point with all your tech trees so you can use them for all of the extra content that exists in the game. So with a ton of vehicles for America moving down to rank 2 that you can see here, these are no longer viable for those missions unless you're doing lineups with them, and other vehicles are rank 3s. So for example, the PV2D is going up to rank 3, so now it's a lot more usable in pretty much every game mode. A2D is going up because of its BR, and also the F5C and F5A are going up because they should have done a long time ago. The P36G is going up because of its BR, same with the F2A3, but you can see here, these two vehicles going down to rank 1, the PBM and also the TBF. I'm really surprised the TBF was ever ranked 2 in the first place. It didn't really make a ton of sense to me. But then you have all of these vehicles here. So stuff like the F4U1D, the Hellcat, and also the SB2Cs all moving down to rank 2. This cripples a lot of lineups and also a lot of things which personally I use. So the F4U1D and the F6F5, I personally run with a 3-0 naval lineup for America because the F6F5 has a torpedo, so you can get really easy destroyer torpedo kills because you usually face early tier torpedoes. The F4U1D gets rockets and also is an incredibly good fighter at around about 2730, which you'll find it, and just works really well in that role once again for rank 3. But unfortunately, they've nuked that now, so you can no longer use them for those types of things. The SB2C4 as well is easily the best ground pounder bomber in the game. It has access to 450 cals, it gets 20s, you can easily clean up 10 to 20 ground targets per kind of pass or per aerialistic battle that you can go from. But what is funny is you see the SB2C4 here for America, right? It's going down to rank 2, but if you go over to the French one, it's not to be seen. You know, the vehicle is not moving down to rank 2, whereas the F6F5 still is for France. So I don't know if they've forgotten about it or if it's supposed to be like that, but we're getting like a weird scenario here. It's a similar scenario to the chaffies in the different tech trees. But yeah, so these changes are huge and mean that all of these vehicles kind of have to be tossed out the window if you're, used to doing the dailies and specials or challenges with them, and now you're going to have to find some new stuff, which kind of sucks. The F6 F5N's going up to rank 4, and then all of these vehicles are moving down to rank 3. Once again, because of BR changes. Like pretty much all of these vehicles have gone down over the last few years, and now their viability when it comes to running them in events such as like the summer event that's going on now has just become weaker because now they don't get as high bonuses to be able to actually get mission score and all of that stuff. So that really sucks. The same with the Cougar, actually. The Cougar, I've actually seen a lot of people play now. Now that it gets stock missiles, it's nice to see, so that's really good. And then these two are also going up to rank 7. So you can see that overall, with the changes for America, they're mostly negative. Like, it's most vehicles are going down in rank, which is not what you want, and a lot of vehicles losing that rank 3 status, making them a lot useful in many different areas. For Germany, it's kind of the same, where you have a lot of the guys who have got downbeard over the years losing their rank. Same with, the Focke-Wulf here, and also all of these guys. The pattern is simple. When it comes to the research tree is trying to mimic what the BR system is, in terms of trying to get a player to research through the tech tree so they run into similar BRs over and over and over again. So a perfect tech tree is at rank 1, you have like 1.0 to 3.0 vehicles. Rank 2, 3.0 to 5.0. Rank 3, 5.0 to 6.0. Stuff like that, right? So you have an incremental change in rank and also cost, but you also have an incremental change in BR, which is what all these changes are basically about. The only ones which are a little bit odd is the ME262 going down to rank 4, and then also the Lim 5P, the G91R3, and the F84F going up. Because a lot of the ones which are going down here are actually strike aircraft or fighters which are just not meta anymore, and a lot of them which are going up here, once again, you've got 2 strike aircraft basically which are going up, and same with the Lim 5P going up. So it's just a bit odd, but then again, if you have a look at like the tech tree for German aviation, it doesn't really make a lot of sense in the jet era, so they're probably just trying to change it up. Then you have the MiG, which is obviously going down because, well, it's just not as good as the rank 8s. Then you have the USSR, nothing too crazy here to really look at. Once again, the LA-5F, the IL-237, and the PE-3 BIS all going down to rank 2. This means none of these are going to be useful when running that 3-7 lineup for the USSR and kind of dragging up the lineup to rank 3, which is something that you could also do. And so they've just lost their usability there. You're going to have to find other vehicles. I think you can still use the standard IL-2, so, at least there's that. That's a possibility, the IL-2M, which is around the place. But yeah, once again, these vehicles just lose a lot of usability, and that just sucks. But hopefully with the research changes, it means that you can research these vehicles quicker with the folded setup, and then it should be a bit easier. Same with these ones. These are all vehicles that are used a lot in ground forces, especially the I-185 and the LA-7 and Yak-9U. And the reason why they're used in ground forces is because you can take a rank 3 lineup, which is, a standard ground lineup, and you can raise it to rank 4, meaning that you get more out of it in terms of research, and then also in terms of doing dailies and specials and stuff like that. And then the changes to the jets don't really matter that much. The MiG-17 shouldn't go up to rank 6. It's massively overvalued as a vehicle, but it is kind of how it is. Britain once again gets shafted, by the way. Once again. Like, you do one good thing, you add the Challenger E, and then you just decide, all right, time to annihilate. That's pretty much Britain and how all of this works. So the Havoc and the Sunderland go up. Great, wonderful, wow. And you lose the Spitfire Mark 5B, the Trop, the Firebrand, the Beaufighter, and also the Tempest Mark 5. None of these you can use for specials anymore, or challenges, or anything. And then also they're moving down the Spitfire F Mark 16, LF Mark 3, the Brigand, and the Whirlwind, so they're a lot less useful. And then you got the Halifax going up. So overall, Britain once again, once again after these changes, gets hit the hardest out of pretty much everybody. Japan has some of the most changes because when it comes to their aviation, it's all over the place. Like there really isn't, a part of Japanese aviation that doesn't make that makes any sense, because I've had so many BR changes over the years, and that's pretty much what you're seeing here, right? They actually don't lose out in terms of the research side of things. There's only one vehicle which is going from rank 3 to 2. You can see here the Key 102. Everything else is either going to rank 4 or staying at rank 3. So you can still use them all in the setups. There's a lot of premium changes with this one, which is not too surprising because, as I said, when you have a look at the Japanese tree, it's one of those which has changed the most over the years in terms of battle ratings and also in terms of vehicles just being added to it. China gets hit with a brick, but the only vehicles that really matter are the I-16 and also the P1Y1. Everything else is generally fine. The only thing that sucks is the P51K going down to rank 3. This is because you can run it in the 5-7 lineup with the M64, the M18, and also stuff like the T3485. All of these things are rank 3, and the P51 once again was one of those vehicles where you could up it to rank 4. I still think the IL-10 for the Chinese is rank 4 though at 5.0, so you should be able to get the bonus with that. But everything else like doesn't really matter that much because you don't use them in separate game modes as you go along. Italy has been a bit shafted, especially with some of these changes. So these guys just going down to rank 1 is fine. Just means that there's a lot more available at that rank, so you can grind out more. The C205, the SM91, and the Z1000 going down to rank 2 sucks, especially for the SM91. Super good multi-role vehicle, the SM91. Very much underrated. Even after some of the changes that they've made. And once again, a bunch of these vehicles which you use in all game modes just going down to rank 3 instead of 4, losing the bonuses that they're going to have. There's going to be a huge restructuring of research changes at some point, and it's going to be predicated on these, and it just kind of sucks. France actually benefits from the changes with a ton of vehicles going up in rank, and I know, like, you know, it may sound weird that they benefit from the changes because technically, you know, it's going to be a little bit harder to grind, but you got to remember the reduced RP now, which you have to grind for them. So now that you have things at higher ranks, they're going to be able to research more stuff and generally be more useful. The only things that once again lose out, F6, F5 and MB175T, and also the D520. I mean, if you're using the D520, good luck to you. It's a terrible aircraft. The MB175, exactly the same. The Hellcat is a good aircraft, but yeah, it's just been hammered by this change, but it's the only negative one that is there. And then Sweden, hardly any changes which actually matter. Nothing losing its rank 3 status. Some of these guys going down in BR, which is going to affect botting actually. So one of the vehicles that's used a lot for botting is the T18s. And the reason for this is because they were so high in rank. What you could do is you could set a script just to bomb a base and then just go die or go after the closest enemy or just, you know, go forward and not do anything. And because you were rank 4, you were able to easily research jets with it, and it was also pretty cheap to repair. It's one of the reasons why these vehicles never went up in BR, even though they're super strong for their BR bracket. It's because most of the time when you see them, they're actually run by bots. So basically, them being at rank 4 meant that a lot of people could abuse them and use them to be able to get jets. And since the Swedish tech tree was one of the smallest, if not still one of the smallest in the game, you could get to jets super easily and then get the rewards based off of that to get to rank 5. And that is something which has been like a classic thing for the longest time, and it's nice to see that they're addressing it. Hopefully they can continue to. Israel also has a few vehicles going up in rank, the Votors and also the F-84F. I've just realized this completely nukes the Votors and the F-84Fs. Oh, I forgot that. Now, so if you're above rank 6, if you're above rank 5, you lose the airspawn. So this is actually just going to completely destroy the F-84Fs and also the Votors, because the Votors are not going to be able to get to the bases again. Oh, God damn it, man. They just really don't like being able to bomb stuff, do they? Jesus, I've completely forgot about that. So yeah, the F-84Fs and now the Votors are just completely nuked again. So the Votors are in an awful place as they were previously. Oh, that makes me so sad. So sad. If we have a look for ground, there is a bunch of changes as well. And once again, what the bracket we're looking at is that like rank 3, rank 2 area. And for ground, the big loser here is actually the M4A2. So there's a few like sneaky ones that they've done in the general look at. And the way that they've done it is they've folded vehicles and then reduced their rank. So all of the Shermans got folded, right? Like if you have a look at the tree, and that means that the M4A2, which didn't used to be with the other Shermans, now is at rank 2 with the other Shermans because it's now folded, and that sucks because the vehicle was actually very good for doing general challenges with, and also was something to bring up a lineup into that rank 3 area. So yeah, that is annoying as all hell. A lot of vehicles got bumped up to rank 7 for the US because they should have been rank 7 for the longest time. As I said, this must just be preparation for rank 8. If we don't see rank 8 soon for foreground, I'd be very surprised. I mean, they're not bringing in these changes until like the next major update, so my guess is we'll see rank 8 either in the update afterwards or even this update itself. With as how many ground vehicles we've already had as devlogs, it would be a bit weird if they brought in rank 8, but also at the same time, you know, not impossible is the way to put it. Usually this kind of update, the September update, is a setup update for what we see kind of in the future, and then November's like the pretty decently sized one, and then December is pretty much nothing. So we'll have to see what goes on with it. Then you have a lot of kind of mid-tier vehicles going down to rank 3 or rank 4, which kind of sucks. The M46 going down to rank 4 is super weird. I suppose they're matching it with the premium that's rank 4, but the vehicles are 7.0, and I suppose the M50s are 6.7. Like I don't know, it just seems odd. Like I suppose they like a lot of people said, why is the non-tech tree M46 a why is it, you know, a lower rank premium? And I'm guessing the idea was that people wanted it to be raised to rank 5, you know, the premium, but instead they've done the opposite, which is kind of rude. Germany is getting a ton of changes too, but you can see once again, like most of these are just prepping for rank 8. Like, look how many of these vehicles, right? Look how many of them are going up to to rank 7. Like this, we're prepping. You know, we're doomsday preppers right now, waiting for that. And then the only vehicles of note which have changed that much is obviously the Tigers. The Tiger 2105 going down to rank 4, which, you know, leads it into the same bracket as the Tiger 2H and everything. Once again, it was a vehicle that you could run. That would be nice, you know, to get that kind of bonus for that rank for challenges and stuff like that, but not anymore, since it's been changed. My hope would be that they bring back the Tiger 2105 and the Panther 2. Now we have other ludicrous vehicles in the game, but I don't know. We'll have to see how that goes. The USSR also with Doomsday prepping with a bunch of not just premiums, but also events and vehicles. Then these guys as well, just bumping them up in BR. 2S25 surprisingly goes down, but that's because of its BR changes that it had about a year or two ago. Same with the ZSU 37-2. T44-100 went up in BR, so now that also goes up, and these guys also went down in BR. So you can see with the USSR, it's just following trends. You know, it's just following trends of either what other nations are doing or the BRs that, you know, have changed. And you can also see how many of these vehicles have changed in BR, which are premiums, which should be a sign of a problem with the USSR, but who knows? You know how it is. For the good old British, a bunch of vehicles got bumped to rank 7, the MBTs. I wish the Mark 7 had like a vehicle after it, I really do, because the Mark 7 is super fun to play, but actually like grinding it out is just a pain, and it's just kind of annoying. The Carnarvon they bumped to rank 5, which is nice, but that's because it's now folded with the Conqueror, and the Ratel 20 has been bumped down because it's now folded with the, well, other Ratel. So even though they've changed in rank, they should be easier to research those two separate sets, which is nice, and also the bump to the two premiums is good, especially the EVGA Anta, since I haven't really seen it played, and overall it's not a bad vehicle, it's just, you know, not around the place. Heavy tank number 6 goes up, kind of surprising, but I suppose trying to bring it in line with the Tigerese. The Chi Nu goes up, and also the M4A3, with the Type 60 going down. So all of these are just following their BR patterns, right? Like they're either following like the folded groups that we talked about, or they're following the BR patterns that have been around. China, everything's going up. The M18 is going up. Wait, why is the M18 going up? But that's very positive, actually, that these two are going up. It's really odd because the P51K for China goes down, but the M18 and the T3485, which are higher BR, go up. It's just a bit weird, but it doesn't matter. That's good. That's positive. That lineup, that 5-7 lineup for China, which is super fun to play, basically is now buffed when it comes to general summer events, winter events, or any events, or dailies or specials. And also, you can now run the 3-7 lineup at rank, at rank 3 with the T34 1943. Very positive. So yeah, overall, these changes are fantastic for China. And the M64's gone up. All right, okay, all right. Now we're cooking with gas here when it comes to China. China is an incredibly underrated tech tree, by the way, which is why, I talk about it quite a decent amount, because it's very fun to play. And I wish that more people kind of got into it. Hellcat going up for Italy, and then also the Sherman going up. So all of these are positive because, once again, higher rank bonuses, and also at the same time, they all now will be able to do events and stuff like that. I know that when people see higher ranks, they think it's harder to grind, and technically it is at this moment, but what I'm doing is I'm coupling in these changes with the RP changes that they're bringing in. So the RP changes make it much easier to grind through tech trees now, so even though a bunch of them are going up in rank, it doesn't really necessarily mean they're going to be harder to grind because of the fact that you'll have to put in less RP to do it. All the EBRs are going up, not a surprise. They went up massively in BR, same with the Samua, same with the AMX50. All of these make sense. The SAO went down in BR, if you remember. The AMX13 DCA going down in BR is kind of surprising, actually. I thought that thing was holding steady for a long time. And then once again, all these vehicles went up in BR over the years. So the France is just following their BR changes. And then Sweden has a metric ton of changes, and the reason is because when Sweden came out as a tech tree, it was the most broken tech tree you've ever seen, and basically has just continued that trend going forward with just a ton of vehicles that just should not be at the BRs that they're at, which are insanely powerful. Every single one of these vehicles going up, apart from the 2A4, that'll be based off the German changes, have gone up in BR, by the way. Just to give you an idea, right? IKV91, laser rangefinder, heat FS at 6.7, used to be lower. STR-V81, obviously used to be 6.7, now 7.3. Then you've got stuff like the ITS-90, which went up in BR super quickly. The UDES, which has gone up in BR. All of these things have pretty much gone up in BR over the years, and it's just kind of nuts. The VEEK going down is weird, since that also got a huge buff and went up in BR, so that might just be a balancing the tech tree thing. And the Comet going down because it's the only vehicle out of these which hasn't changed in BR over the last few years, which is just kind of nuts to think about. Then also Israel, Merkavas going up to rank 7, not a surprise, they should have been there anyway. And the ZSU-57 also going down in rank, so I'm guessing this should be red. But that's probably just to bring it in line with all of the other ones. So you can see with the rank changes, there's a ton of them which are mostly positive for ground, but for air it's very up and down. Where there is a lot of them for air, where many vehicles around that rank 3 area lose their abilities to be useful for extra stuff instead of just researching the tech tree. And generally, that's, at least for me, my general focus on the game. So what we have is rank 8 being prepped for ground. We have some new vehicles which were sat around in the tech trees. We also have a ton of rank changes which are going to affect many meta lineups because of how kind of experienced players play the game. Instead of focusing just on research, they're going to be focusing on, of course, doing the events and all of that. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.